Hey everyone, I'd like to share some tips and tactics for learning tunes. There are a number of ways to learn tunes, so you'll have to figure out what actually works for you. However, specific and organized tactics can definitely enhance whatever your natural learning process is. The main goal is to acknowledge and understand the various ways in which you learn, and then be proactive about your learning process. In any case, there are a few phases to the process of learning tunes, and that includes learning to play the tune well first, right? So that includes the melody, the lyrics, if any, the chords, and the form, and then how to improvise over the tune. To some extent, the memorization of a tune will begin to happen as you learn the various elements of the tune. So while those first few tunes might be challenging to learn all the various elements, the next few tunes will get easier. And then the more tunes you learn, the more easy it is to learn more tunes. I'd recommend starting with simpler tunes, such as 12-bar blueses, or 16-bar tunes, such as Summertime or Watermelon Man. To help organize your tune learning process, I'd recommend a 3-part tune list. Part A would be the songs that you can play from memory and improvise over comfortably, melody and chords. Part B would be the songs that you can play the melody and the chords pretty comfortably, but you have to look at the chart. Part C would be the longer list typically, and that's the list of songs that you're learning or that you want to learn. So that's a long list. So the process with your tune list is to move tunes from Part B to Part A as you get them memorized, and then move tunes from Part C to Part B as you learn the tunes and are able to improvise over them and play the melodies well. And then finally to add more tunes to Part C as you discover all the incredible tunes out there that you might want to learn. So here are some specific tips for learning a given tune. First thing you'll need is a good recording of the song and a good lead sheet of the song. So for the recording, you can use the internet to find something on YouTube or Spotify. Preferably the recording and the lead sheet are in the same key, and preferably by a jazz master. As far as a good lead sheet goes, there are lots of books that have good lead sheets. Here are some examples. After you have a good lead sheet and a good recording to check out, the listening process is very important. So that's kind of ongoing. It's important to learn how to sing the song. So you don't have to look to sing it professionally, but the better you can vocalize it, the more expressively you'll be able to play it. The next thing is you're going to want to analyze the tune and understand what the harmony is, what the chords are, what the form is. For the solos, you'll basically study the chords, go chord by chord, and just play 1, 3, 5s, and 7s. Play those strong chord tones through the progression, preferably in time. That may take some practice, but that's an important process. And then in that way, you'll become linearly familiar with that tune. If you can play them on piano, that's great. You'll need a concert chart for that. But if you can play them on piano, that's great. If not, just play them linearly on your instrument, the 1, 3, 5s, and 7s, in progression through the chord progression, and that will be very helpful in having you have a better understanding of what's happening with the harmony of the tune. Probably the most important thing you can do to learn songs well is to play the songs. So obviously playing them by yourself, either reading the chart until you memorize it and then playing it from memory by yourself is a good start. Playing with a metronome obviously is fine. If you can play with people, that's the best. So if you have some colleagues with whom you can practice and explore songs, that's fantastic. I used to play with a fellow saxophone player. We just play songs together, take turns playing bass notes for each other and chords for each other, and we learned songs well that way, so that was really fun. Another option is to use play-along records, and a lot of my practice was with play-along records, especially in my early days. So I had all the Jamie Eversole play-along records, and they were LPs in those days. And I would learn songs by literally practicing. I had the book with all the changes and with the melodies, and I'd listen to versions of it if I had the recording available. And then I would just play the whole play-along record. So if it was volume 12 Duke Ellington, I'd play all those songs pretty much every day. And so typically I'd play, in my practice, I'd play 2 play-along records a day. So it might be Duke Ellington, volume 12, and Charlie Parker, All Bird, volume 6 of Jamie Eversole's play-along. And then I would just play that. That's an hour and a half total playing time with a break in between. So almost 2 hours. If I had to work out some melodies and stuff, of course, I would stop and deal with any kind of technical details with the songs. And then I do that prep work, and then I just practice playing chord tones with the play along records. Eventually, I would improvise with the play along records, and in that way, I'd learn probably, let's say, 15 tunes for 2 play along records, 16 tunes, 8 tunes for play along over a period of 2 weeks. Then I go on to the next two play alongs and keep learning tunes that way. So at the end of a few months, I had almost 100 tunes, and then regularly I would intermingle, the ones I would practice with, so that I wouldn't forget the tunes I'd already learned. And that process, by the time I was heading into college, I knew a couple hundred tunes because I'd practiced with 30 play along records. And so that process worked for me, just pure repetition. And in the end, most of us learn tunes through repetition. So we play them through whatever our various methods are, playing through the melodies, playing through chord tones, listening a lot, which is very important, and then whatever practice method we can do. So there are a lot of options to practice tunes in kind of a way that's imitates the feeling of playing with a group. And that was really helpful because that emotional energy of playing with a group can be emulated pretty well with technology. And so to the extent that you can do that, that will help you to learn tunes very well. So one other thing you can do in your tune learning process is to learn a song in another key. In fact, learn it in all 12 keys if you can. That skill is very helpful both for your overall musicality and for flexibility in playing the tune with different musicians. And remember that repetition is your friend in tune learning. So if you want to retain all the tunes you learn, it's helpful to refresh them on a regular basis. After a while, you really have them imprinted, but it does take some repetition. Anyway, I hope this is all helpful. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And have fun learning tunes.